Hey everyone, today we're doing interior detail on this Citation 10. Just came in, super mid-sized jet. A lot of people are asking how to clean the inside of an aircraft. So today we're gonna walk through the entire process, kind of go through check-in. Today we're in Sacramento, so check-in to the airport, cleaning the lav, how to take out the trash, pretty basic stuff, how to vacuum the carpets, how to shampoo, and pretty much our workflow for the entire jet. There's a whole bunch of steps, so we're pretty strategic in how we do it, just because there's not a lot of room as well. Yeah, let's get to it.
First step is grabbing all your chemicals. I've got microfiber towels, all-purpose cleaner, glass cleaner, rinseless wash, lights, brushes, and scrub pads. We've got it in a Husky tote because it's easy to carry into the plane. So we're inside now. I've got, usually when I first check in, I just put all the chemicals down inside the plane on the ground, preferably, because this thing's kind of dirty, and then we'll just do an initial check. So I take pictures of everything. Usually the clients will ask for before photos, so I make sure to do that. And sometimes on these airplanes, like even though this is charter, they keep pretty good care of the aircraft, so it's going to be generally pretty clean. We got called out today for pet hair, so what I'm going to do is look for pet hair, take pictures of that. Usually it's going to be, you know, in between the seats. You're going to have to remove some of the covers, but I make sure to just take pictures of everything before I start, also just for liability reasons, because, you know, you don't want to bump something and then have, you know, an owner or operator claim that you damaged something when damage was already there. So just having photos in that regard is a good first step. But yeah, it's just doing inspection because it's easy to miss stuff later on when you're kind of going through everything. So what I'll do is I'll check, usually underneath the seats here, you've get a lot of dirt and debris like on top of these, I don't even know what you call them. But usually things like that, like right here, there's a ton of dust here. You can't really see it. And then you can pull out the seats and kind of look in between for dirt and things like that. So I'll just take pictures of everything, look at what needs to be restocked, if any of the snack needs to be restocked, if there's a stain anywhere. But yeah, this inspection process will usually take, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes or so. And it does add time to our workflow, but that's just something good to do. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, so these seats are in pretty bad condition actually, although they're light colored and don't look too stained. As you can see kind of just on this back portion right here, there's a ton of buildup. And how I usually check on seats like these is do they look either, you know, shiny and a little oily, or do they look flat and matte? This is true for most leather seats. Obviously, you're going to get some variation. Upon just inspection, these seats look fine, but when you look close, there's actually a lot of buildup. As you can see, this is kind of similar to, let's say, your vehicle's steering wheel or something like that. So what I'm doing is just going in and doing the initial clean. This is going to be all-purpose cleaner. We like to dilute our cleaner 1 to 10, just because we're trying to be careful with the dyes and things like that. And we use a scrub pad, and this is an auto fiber Scrub Ninja. You can use any scrub pad. I do recommend using a pad instead of just using your cleaner and a towel. It'll make the process a little bit more fast, and it just kind of help you so you don't have to kind of scrub as much. So yeah, going in, it's just kind of doing all the high touch areas. This is going to be kind of like those seat, those elbow rests that you have right here, kind of under that seat where dust can collect on top of the seat bottoms. And then just on top, when people walk in, they're always touching the seats, or just kind of either brushing their clothes or setting their hands on the seats or just moving around. And these seats are going to be the dirtiest up front here because it seems like passengers seem to enjoy sitting on these seats. Yeah, so moving on here, we took off the seat bottom, and you've got the crevices with this diamond stitch area here at the bottom. So what I like to do is go in with a brush and just make sure I'm getting in all of the cracks and crevices. You can do this with a towel. I think a brush just makes it easier and kind of ensures you get in there, especially with the diamond stitching. You know, you've got a ton of small crevices and cracks that a microfiber towel just can't get in itself. So all-purpose cleaner to the brush, and then I'll follow that up with a scrub pad on the seat and just scrub the entire thing down. Like I said, what we're looking for is kind of that flat finish. As you can see, seat, it still looks a little bit shiny here, and that's partially because it's sprayed with a liquid right now. But brush and then follow it up with a microfiber towel, and we'll just go ahead and do that to all the seats. Just be extra careful. Sometimes on the side when you take these off, you'll get crumbs and random things like that, especially on the front. People's pants, people step on the seats. When there's animals, there'll be pet hair kind of lodged in random places. So we like to make sure to wipe every single part of the seat down, although it already looks clean. We're just doing our clean and our workflow and making sure everything is touched correctly and cleaned up right. So after finishing up the seats, what I like to do is do kind of all the table area and also the sidewalls. The reason being is that when you clean the seats, you might get some overspray from the all-purpose cleaner and it'll hit the wall. And what you want to do is kind of prevent that from drying on the wall because it's going to leave spots. So that's kind of why we like to do this workflow. If you were to clean these first, then you'd get overspray on the seats. Same deal, but if you kind of do them right after each other, you're going to mitigate having to come back at the very end and wipe a whole bunch of stuff down. But yeah, how these usually go is I like to do the tables. Every aircraft is going to be a little bit different, but typically you've got, the tables and then some sort of storage area with something near the tables. And then you've got cup holders that always need to be cleaned. Typically you'll have, at least on the 10s, you'll have kind of the placards tucked into the sidewalls. So I always make sure to take them out. I give them a wipe down. Nothing too crazy, but you're going to get a lot of fingerprints usually on the, these surfaces, especially because it's glossy. If you're dealing with matte, it's going to be the same thing. You'll get kind of finger smudges. With this, what I like to use is all-purpose cleaner, and then we also use a rinseless wash. So the rinseless wash is I think it just works a little bit better for streaking. I always try to use a brand new microfiber towel. This is a clean one, it's not brand new, so I have to be a little careful. The brand new ones are gonna prevent streaking on the gloss surfaces. So I only have a couple brand new ones, so I'm gonna use them in the lav later on the mirrors. So if you can, use brand new towels and a rinseless wash. In the cup holders, I will use an all-purpose cleaner because there's usually like some drink spillage or something like that. But yeah, the tables aren't usually too dirty, so what we'll do is open it. Be careful. A lot of these are usually either old or refurbished or whatever it is, so things have their quirks. I always spray it just on the towel and then wipe. But you want to make sure you get no streaks in the table, so usually I'll wipe and then follow up with another towel. I don't have one on me here, so I'm just gonna flip it over and buff it out with the dry side. Yeah, I usually hit this side. There's not anything really here, but it's nice just to touch everything because you are getting dust kind of in a whole bunch of places just over time. Even if there's no fingerprints, there's probably going to be dust or fingerprints, or just there's that. I like to do that part first. And then like in this cup holder here, we've got pretzel. And if you do have some areas where there are bigger spills that will require more of a cleaner, like here, I think some all-purpose cleaner would be nice because this smudge isn't coming off. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on the towel and kind of work it out like that, and follow it up with the dry side. On this here, you could use the scrubber, which is what I will probably end up doing, just because this one hasn't been cleaned in a little while. That's rinseless wash, and this is all-purpose cleaner. There's going to be a lot of gunk buildup behind the chairs back here, so I'm going to do the same thing. Yeah, usually people will miss back here. Not sure if it'll pick up on the camera, but there is some drink spillage back here, so just going in with the scrubber. Quick note on this one here, this is going to be the typically they call it like the owner's chair, or whoever is like, I guess paying for the charter. In this case, typically will sit in this chair right here. It's an interesting fact, but I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just a good view of the cockpit, and also you're forward facing and you're away from the door. But that's above my pay grade. But with this chair, that's just something good to know, because this is typically going to be the most dirty. People are going to rest their arms on it. People are going to touch it the most, just because it's always sat in. If there's one passenger or 8 passengers, usually like 80% chance this chair will be sat in. Also, it's just what people notice the most. Like if someone's sitting in this chair only in this plane, they're going to notice if this chair is dirty. So it's just something to note. I clean every chair the same, but this chair is typically most dirty. So just take extra care in cleaning it, especially around the arms and the food area, because usually this is where I see people will miss extra steps. So just something good to note. All right, just finished up with the seats. What we're gonna do now is work on the lav. So once you have the seats, you've done kind of the side panels, all the tables, the cup holders, everything should be good to go. I resetted the seat belts, but I haven't put everything back yet, just so I can do a final check later. At the end, we're gonna do our final check. So that's gonna be putting the placards back up, you know, making sure all the seat belts are good and making sure all the water and snacks are stocked. But after we do the seats, yeah, I like to leave the placards there, leave everything out. The seats are clean, but it's still not organized. What we're gonna do is work on the lav. So this back panel door, or whatever you call this back here, typically is a high touch area. So you've got fingerprints on the doors. It's kind of hard to see sometimes in the dark, but if you shine a light not directly at it, but kind of from the top angle or from the side, you'll be able to get a good look at all the fingerprints. This is where I see a lot of detailers kind of fail. So we subcontract out a lot of work, and a lot of our vendors, when they're detailing, I can see in the photos, you know, they'll send after photos and it looks fine, but then the pilots will get on board and see streaks. So what's important here is to wipe it properly. So what we use, either you can use a glass cleaner. This is acrylic, so sometimes people will use Plexus. I like to use a rinseless wash just because it's safe and it's, you know, the less chemicals, the better for us. So I will spray rinseless wash onto a brand new towel and wipe it. Don't spray onto the panel, spray onto the towel, wipe it, and then I'll follow up with a brand new towel that's dry to buff out all the streaks. And you can do this, you know, 1,000 different ways. This is just the way that has worked best for us. So far I've got the new towel here. I'm gonna fold it up so we get kind of that harder side. There's a ton of stuff here. So I'm gonna spray into the towel, not too much, not too little, and basically just wipe. I'm gonna get the whole thing. And what I'm gonna do is follow up with a brand new towel and just buff that out. You're gonna be kind of firm here, but quick. And this is gonna get out all of the streaks. Here's not as bad, it gets worse once you go into the lav. I always like to do these mirror sections first. Sometimes it's not going to be a mirror section, it'll just be gloss, or it won't be gloss at all. Like I said, that's why every aircraft is different. It's good just to follow the same workflows no matter what, because you're going to encounter a lot of the same stuff, even though the material will be different or the finishes will be different. It's just a good way to make sure they're clean. So no streaks, no scratches on these. This is what I forgot, easy to forget. I'm gonna do this one and then we'll move into the lav. And you usually get a lot around the door knob itself, which is kind of hidden right here, but the door knob itself, you'll get a lot of marks around there. The cleaning itself isn't difficult, it's just kind of understanding the workflow and make sure you're not missing anything, because there's aircraft detailers who are paying for the job to be done right the first time. There we go, it's looking good. Now we're gonna move inside and do the rest. All right, so now we're in the lav. It's a little echoey in here because I closed the door. But yeah, pretty much this is what a lot of people will ask about too. And just like cleaning the rest of the plane. Since I have two towels here, we just clean the outside windows. We're gonna clean, or the outside mirrors. We're gonna clean the rest of the inside mirrors here. So you've got kind of that back wall, and then you've also got this door. This door is always missed. Whenever I do any checks, people will always miss it. It doesn't look that dirty, but when you shine the light on it from under, you can see all the fingerprints here. So what I'm gonna do is clean this back window first. We're kind of cleaning the cleanest surfaces with the clean towels first, and then we're just gonna use the same towels to clean the rest, and then finish on the toilet, because after that, I'm gonna wanna take off my gloves. Yeah, it's just really making sure to get around the door handles, and this isn't the mirrored section here, but it is a gloss panel door, and it does pick up a ton of fingerprints. And then following up with the clean towel here. Be careful not to bump anything in here. It's a small area. So like I said, it doesn't look dirty, but there's tons of fingerprints on it. And who will notice are the people paying $10,000 an hour to fly on this thing. All right, so when doing the sink area, you've got kind of a lot of considerations. Everything's gonna be a little bit different. There's usually a lot of stuff in these compartments. So what I like to do is all this stuff, just kind of organize it, make sure it's all neat. And then you've usually got trash and tissue. So there's gonna be tissue, and then trash is gonna be down here. This trash looks empty. If there is trash in here, I would replace that bag, take it out, put a new bag in. Typically there's gonna be bags underneath this trash bag. Whoever you're dealing with might have a different system, but these clients like to keep the trash bags under, which is really nice. And yeah, you've got little marks here and there, so I just like to take note of everything. This one specifically has soap dispensers inside, and what happens is that people take out the soap, and then soap will get all in there. So I'm gonna start with the clean parts first, so I'm not kind of spreading everything. What people don't know is that the toilet is often the last seat. So sometimes an aircraft will have like 8 seats plus one. That plus one will be the lav back here. So people will sit back here, and people also use the toilet all the time. So I'm just doing a quick little clean of the top before we move on to the bottom. And also people just generally will spill stuff back here. If people have a big accident, let's say I'll run to the back of the toilet, sometimes I won't make it to the toilet. So labs, sometimes you're dealing with a lot of just small space that gets very dirty. This seat here is pretty old, so got to be careful with how much chemical we're using. All right, now we're moving on to the bowl. You might see in some people's TikTok and Instagram videos, people will clean the bowl first and then the outside, and that's not the way to do it. Whoever's doing that must be editing the videos so people can comment. But yeah, what I'll do is just spray the entire section down, including the bowl. And yeah, I always start with the seat. And remember, towel has a bunch of sides. So what I like to do is put the towel like this, and I'll get this section here. And then lastly, so I'll get the bowl. Yeah, what I like to do here is wrap the towel in the glove, so you're not getting any of that juice. All right, so last up is the galley section here. I like to do this last just because you've got some sunlight and it's easy. You don't have to worry about all your lights. Usually if I'm doing a carpet extraction, right now I'll go outside and start heating up the extractor or doing the vacuum and then heating up the extractor. But since the galley is pretty quick, what you're really doing here is just a little bit of organization and cleaning. So we've got chips here. There's usually some like refreshments and things like that. So what I like to do is organize everything to make sure it's clean. Well, I also like to take everything out, then organize, then wipe everything down, and just make sure there's no fingerprints, because this also is a pretty high touch area. You've always got people coming in here. And then what a lot of people will do is you'll see detailers kind of spraying a section like that and then wiping. The problem is that sometimes you'll get overspray on the top part of the drawers, and a lot of people miss that. So I like to do my initial spray and then go in and wipe the tops of the drawers and then wipe the insides. And then, yeah, just make sure to organize everything, make it look intentional. If there are cords or anything, wrap them up. As you can see, the chips here, I'm gonna organize them a little bit. They're not too bad, but color coordination. And there's also a little bit of spills, drinks, and things like that. So that's what we're getting to right now. All right, so now we're finishing up. We're putting the placards kind of back in about 2 inches. Just make sure they're all kind of even. But yeah, pretty much now, let's say you've got all the placards in, you've got all your water bottles straightened out so the logos are facing out, and yeah, you've got the seats cleaned, everything done. Before I like to vacuum, what I like to do is just reset everything. So I'm gonna make sure all the seat belts are set. I'm also gonna, make sure there's no fingerprints on this. I'll kind of do my final checks. If there's anything else I need to wipe down, probably gonna be after we vacuum, but it's nice just to get an idea. There's usually gonna be crumbs on the floor just because we're pulling up seats and things like that. So it's important to get everything out. On this aircraft specifically, there's gonna be pillows and blankets. So these have already been rolled up, but if the blankets aren't rolled, then what I would do is just take them out and kind of roll them and make sure they're folded correctly. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and vacuum. The only thing to note with the vacuum is make sure to move all the seat tracks and make sure you're getting all the vacuums. I will go ahead and take out these little floor mats here and do it outside. But yeah, with a vacuum, we're gonna run Miele C1 Turbo. It's my preferred vacuum. Ideally, if you have the means, then get the pet and dog hair. But yeah, the Turbo, it works well. It's a bag vacuum and it's pretty compact. So I'm gonna run it up to my generator there, then I'm gonna pull an extension cord up to the aircraft and then start the vacuum in here. So let's go ahead and do that now. All right, so last up are the steps. Yeah, the steps, a lot of people also miss this. It's a pretty crucial part of finishing up an interior detail. The reason being is that when the steps are closed, this is also part of the interior. It's like the passengers will see it, the pilots will see it, and this is a high touch area too. It's stepped on every single time, multiple times by me, by the pilots, by the passengers, so it gets pretty dirty. So nothing too crazy, just all purpose cleaner. What I like to do is scrub down the steps if you've got some texture. You can use a brush. I'm just using a scrub pad because that's what I have on me right now. I scrub them down with a scrub pad, and then I'll just wipe the remainder of the steps down with the pad and then close up and take photos, and then we'll call it a day usually after that. All right, so we just finished up full interior detail. This is our basic package. So usually clients are gonna be requesting this, on a quick turn. Maybe someone spilled something on the inside. Maybe it's just been a couple weeks since it's last been cleaned. It's not too detailed. It's not too basic. It's kind of a great right in between what a lot of our clients are looking for. It's like we could take, hours scrubbing down the headliners and polishing the tables, but typically on charter, that's not what they're gonna ask for. They just want it clean, prepped, and ready for the next passengers. This plane is taking off in 2 hours or so, so the pilot's going to be here soon. So we finished up just in time. Finished with the steps, did a quick last spray of the inside just to make sure it doesn't smell. And we're going to close up and lock the door, and then we're going to call it a day.